Hello and welcome back to Betrayed and Broken. We truly appreciate every view and comment. Let us know which country or city you're watching from today. We love connecting with people around the world. Now let's begin today's story. I never imagined that I would be the one to be deceived. But what happened that night destroyed everything I believed about my wife, my marriage, and even myself. I thought we were happy, or at least that's what I wanted to believe. My name is Ryan Carter. I'm 34 years old, a senior software engineer living in Austin, Texas. For many years, I worked countless late nights chasing promotions and dreams, thinking I was creating a future for me and my wife Lena. She's 31, beautiful, intelligent, and had this way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the world. That used to be my truth, or so I believed. It all began with something small, a random alert on my phone. There had been a login attempt on my banking app at 3 a.m. I was half asleep, too tired to care. Maybe I trusted her too much to suspect anything. Foolish, right? But that's how betrayal often begins. Not with loud warnings but with quiet signs. I didn't know she had secretly installed a hidden app on my phone, one that recorded my keystrokes. Each time I checked my bank balance or logged into my account, she was watching. For weeks, maybe even months, she had been planning it. While I worked overtime, trying to save for a better home, Lena was preparing her escape, with someone else. And then one night, she was simply gone. No note, no phone call, no message. Just a missing wife, an empty closet, and a heavy feeling in my chest I couldn't explain. When I checked my bank account, I felt like my heart stopped. $400,000, completely gone. Every single dollar I had saved over the last 10 years. It felt like standing on thin ice, hearing it crack beneath you. For a few moments, I just stared at the screen, hoping it was a glitch. Maybe it was an error. Maybe I was dreaming. But reality has a harsh way of waking you up. Lena wasn't kidnapped. She wasn't missing. She was traveling with her boyfriend, spending my money. And the worst part wasn't even the betrayal. It was the laughter. Her laughter. When she finally came back, completely shameless. She didn't even try to hide what she had done. She walked into the house like she owned the place. A shopping bag swinging from her wrist. Sunglasses resting on her head like she was some kind of triumphant queen. I'll never forget what she said. "Thanks to your phone, babe. I really enjoyed spending your $400,000. You're better with computers than with marriage. I'll give you that." And then she laughed. Laughed like it was all some kind of joke. Like 10 years of my life meant absolutely nothing. I looked at her, smiled, and laughed too. But not for the reason she assumed. Because what Lena didn't know, and what her boyfriend didn't know either, was that the bank account she accessed wasn't my real savings. It was a decoy account. Every dollar she took, every expensive dinner, every 5-star hotel room she booked, it all led them straight into my trap. And the real nightmare for Lena hadn't even begun yet. I kept my expression calm as she bragged about how she and Marcus, her new boyfriend, partied across Europe, bought designer clothes, and stayed in penthouses. She talked like it was some kind of victory speech. Like I was supposed to sit there and applaud her betrayal. But inside I was composed and focused. Because while Lena thought she had stolen my life savings, the truth was very simple. The account she drained belonged to a private dummy fund I had created 2 years ago. It was a trap, set up as part of a security plan during a complicated business deal. I never imagined I'd end up using it against my own wife. The real $400,000. It was safe, untouched, resting quietly in a trust account that only I could access. She thought she had ruined me. But I realized it was time for my own game to begin. Later that night, while Lena was in the shower, humming like nothing had happened, I sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee and scrolling through the photos she had carelessly left on her phone. Pictures of her and Marcus. Kissing, sipping champagne, relaxing on yachts I had paid for. For a moment, just a moment, the pain hit me hard. How easily she had thrown everything away. But then something in me changed. She made this choice. Now she would have to face the consequences. The next morning I acted like everything was normal. I made her breakfast. I even laughed at her pointless jokes. I played the fool she believed I was. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I was already moving the pieces. First, I contacted my friend Eric, a private investigator who's great at uncovering secrets. By noon, Eric handed me a file so thick it almost made me laugh. Marcus wasn't just some random guy. He was a small-time con artist. He had a criminal record in 3 states. Credit card fraud, identity theft, and even blackmail. The man Lena gave up her marriage for was nothing more than a scammer. And then it hit me. I didn't need to destroy Lena. She had already done that herself. All I had to do was give the final push. Quietly, I sent a few carefully chosen documents to Marcus's email, making it look like Lena was setting him up. Fake conversations, fake transactions, all crafted just enough to create suspicion. Because men like Marcus, they trust no one, especially not gold diggers they barely know. That night, while Lena slept next to me, Marcus called her phone. I didn't need to answer. I just watched. She jolted awake, stumbled out of bed, whispering angrily into the phone in the hallway. "What are you talking about? I didn't betray you. I swear, Marcus, I didn't send anything. Please just calm down. Let's meet and talk." Her voice cracked. I could hear the fear creeping in. Perfect. Everything was falling apart. Exactly how I had planned. But I wasn't finished yet. Because while Lena tried to save her broken affair, I was preparing something much worse. Something she couldn't escape. And it wouldn't just hit her bank account. Not even her heart. It would hit her freedom. The next morning, Lena was a mess. Her usual smug smile. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, her hair was tangled, and her trembling hands clutched the coffee cup. She barely touched her breakfast. I watched her quietly, pretending not to notice, while inside I was smiling. She had no idea that her nightmare was just beginning. While she scrambled to fix things with Marcus, I made my next move. I filed a police report. Not directly against her. That would have been too easy. Instead, I reported my missing $400,000, complete with carefully created evidence pointing directly at Marcus and his supposed partner in crime. Guess who that partner was? Lena. The police didn't need much convincing. With Marcus's actual criminal record and the fake bank transactions I had planted, it looked like a textbook fraud case. They launched an investigation right away. By that afternoon, 2 detectives were at our front door. Lena's face turned pale the moment she opened it. "Mrs. Carter, we'd like to ask you a few questions regarding a wire fraud investigation," the taller officer said, flashing his badge. She stuttered, glancing at me for support. I just raised an eyebrow, as if I was just as confused as she was. The officers didn't arrest her on the spot. No, they were smarter than that. They invited her to the station for a friendly conversation, and Lena, panicked, agreed to go. She was gone for hours. When she came back, she looked pale, shaken, and full of rage. "Did you tell them something?" she whispered sharply once we were alone. I blinked, pretending innocence. "Tell them what, sweetheart? That you emptied our account and ran off with a scam artist?" She looked like she wanted to hit me, but she didn't. 'Cause now she was stuck. Any wrong step, and everything would collapse faster than she could fix. And I wasn't finished yet. That night, while she sulked in the bedroom, her phone buzzed again. Another call from Marcus. I couldn't hear it all, but I caught pieces of the argument. Angry, loud words. "You set me up. You think I'm stupid. You're going down with me, Lena." She shouted back in panic, but it didn't matter. Marcus was afraid now. Agitated and desperate. Exactly where I wanted him. The next day, Marcus showed up at our front door. He didn't look anything like the smooth guy from the vacation photos. He looked worn down, unshaven, his eyes wild, fists clenched at his sides. "Open the door, Lena," he yelled, banging on it loudly. Neighbors started peeking through their curtains. I stood behind Lena, arms folded, while she stood frozen in place. "Open it, babe," I said calmly, my voice cold. "You wouldn't want him thinking you're hiding, would you?" With a shaky hand, she slowly opened the door. Marcus didn't wait. He stormed in, glaring at her, then at me. "You think you can play me like this?" he growled. "You're both finished." In that moment, Lena realized, perhaps for the first time, that she wasn't the predator anymore. She was the prey, and the trap was about to close tighter than she could have ever imagined. Marcus lunged toward me, but I didn't even flinch. I simply stepped aside, calmly, as two plainclothes officers emerged from the hallway behind him, weapons drawn. "Get on the ground," one of them shouted. Marcus froze, completely stunned. Lena screamed, backing herself against the wall. Within seconds, Marcus was in handcuffs. They read him his rights as he shouted in rage and hurled threats, but it was already over. The evidence I had planted tied him directly to the stolen funds. Now he was facing serious criminal charges: wire fraud, grand theft, identity theft. And Lena, she wasn't free to walk away either. One of the officers turned to her and said, "We also have some questions for you, Mrs. Carter." I watched her expression collapse, her carefully built lies, her secret plans, and the false love she pretended to share. All came crashing down. Then came the final blow. As they led Marcus away, I handed Lena an envelope. With trembling hands, she opened it. Inside were two documents. The first was a divorce agreement, already signed by me. The second was a lawsuit, demanding repayment of all misused funds, financial compensation for emotional distress, and a court-issued restraining order. Her jaw dropped. She stared at me, horror slowly spreading across her face. You planned this," she whispered. This time my smile was real. "Oh no, Lena. You planned this. I just finished what you started." Before she could say another word, the officers took her away, leaving me standing alone in a house that suddenly felt a whole lot larger and quieter. A week later, the story hit the news. Local woman arrested in $400,000 embezzlement case. Romantic escape turns criminal. Her face was everywhere, on TV, across social media. Marcus's too. I sat on the couch, sipping my coffee, watching it all unfold. You see, Lena thought she was using my money to fund her dream getaway. But she didn't realize she was paying for her own downfall. And the $400,000. Never touched. The account she hacked was fake, a decoy from an old business I hadn't used in years. It was filled with dummy transactions I created just for situations like this. My real savings. Secure, untouched. Hidden under a different identity she never knew existed. In the end, Lena didn't just lose the money. She lost her freedom, her public image, and the future she thought she could steal. All because she couldn't resist betraying me one last time. As for me, I walked away, not just financially secure but truly at peace. Funny how life works. Sometimes the people who believe they're fooling you are actually just setting themselves up to be fooled. Thank you for being part of this story. If it touched your heart, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to Narrative Stories. I've noticed that many of you who enjoy these stories haven't subscribed yet. By subscribing, you're not just supporting a channel, you're joining a community that appreciates deep, meaningful storytelling. Let's keep exploring these emotional journeys together. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and leave your valuable thoughts in the comments, so you won't miss what's coming next.